Welcome back, engineers. We're discussing common trade-offs in system design, and in this video I want to introduce to you a system, a framework, a decision-making mindset that you can use to make any trade-off analysis, especially when you have multiple choices to make for a decision and you're confused. What is the decision? What is the right decision to make? How do I make this trade-off? What are my priorities? How do I actually convey my decision to other stakeholders? How do I present this decision and all that using the framework called as PrOACT? I hope you're ready. Let's get started. So PrOACT is an acronym for these things. PR stands for problem, O for objectives, A for alternatives, C for consequences, and T for trade-offs, right? So it is a decision-making framework using which you can actually build an architectural decision. You can actually document it, you can actually present it, you can actually convince other stakeholders, your customer, your development team, your testing team, or whatever, that you have considered these options and these are the alternatives I have considered, these are the consequences and these are the trade-offs, and I have evaluated my trade-offs, I have made my prioritization, and this is the final decision that I've taken as a system designer, right? So this is a framework, very powerful framework, very simple to do, very easy to implement, and also very effective as well, right? So let's try to understand this, a simple framework using an example, right? Let's say this is me and I'm working on my project and suddenly my laptop suddenly decides to give away, right? It is crashed. I no longer have any backup. I lost my work and I'm a little bit frustrated because my work is interrupted, right? I had some amazing projects planned, but everything is now paused because of the laptop problem, right? Now I'm thinking, in order to get out of this situation, what do I do? Should I get my laptop repaired? Should I buy a new laptop, or should I just borrow some laptop from some guy who can help me out with this crisis, right? So these are the things I'm thinking in my mind. So at this point of time, you must be realizing that, okay, I now have three choices, but now I'm confused about what is the best choice for me, right? So this is a similar situation that every system designer or architects face whenever they're dealing with trade-off decisions like consistency versus availability, performance versus cost, security versus usability, and so on, right? So probably I should have introduced this framework to you before I started the section, but no worries, I have decided to put it together now so that our next videos will actually use this framework to convey our decisions, right? So back to our story. So here I am thinking about three choices. Should I repair it? Should I buy a new laptop, or should I borrow? Now, what I say is, now what I'm thinking is, let me PrOACT and see it, right? Which means let me apply the PrOACT framework and see how to make a decision out of it, right? Let's see how this goes. So the first step in PrOACT is to create a problem statement, right? The clearer your problem statement, the easier it is to apply this framework. The more clear your problem statement, you are naturally analyzing the problem in the correct way, and you're not actually solving a different problem than what is meant to be, right? So always try to define your problem statements as clearly as possible. So in this statement, the problem is like this: my laptop is unreliable, it often crashes, my work is hampered, and I don't want to deal with such a situation, right? So what to do to ensure that I can continue to do my work without interruptions, right? So that is the situation we are in. That is the problem statement. My laptop is unreliable, right? And the next step in this PrOACT is defining my objectives, right? So what are my objectives? I would like to complete my projects. I would like to not overspend. I have some limited budget, as always the case. Have a reliable and performant device. I would like to have a laptop that I can actually rely on. I don't need to be thinking every day that, hey, will it switch on today? Hey, will it perform as well as yesterday, and so on. So I'd like to have a reliable machine, and I would also like to minimize the downtime. I don't want it crashing very often so that I have to recover from it, take backups and stuff, right? So these are my objectives, I'd say. So don't have too many objectives. Find the right balance between objectives. Have 3 to 5 really good objectives that you can actually analyze further, right? So the problem statement is defined, my goals are defined, and now let's see how do I achieve these goals by, exploring the alternatives, right? So these are my alternatives. This is the next step in the PrOACT framework. The first alternative is pay and get current laptop repaired. So this is the repair option. Purchase a new laptop, borrow a friend's laptop, right? Let's say these are my three alternatives using which I can get out of this situation. Now, the fourth step onwards, this is where this framework gets really effective. Let me close this. So, the fourth step is consequences. We want to analyze each alternative against the objectives. So, make a table like this, alternative in one column, all the objectives in the columns after that, right? So, we had reliability as an objective, cost as an objective, speed as an objective, which means performing good performance from the laptop, and downtime, which needs to be minimal, right? So for these objectives, I would like to evaluate my consequences for each alternative, right? So the first alternative was repair, and for repair, my reliability is maybe. I don't know whether after repairing will my laptop be as reliable as before, right? So it's a maybe. And then we have cost. Let's say cost is medium. I don't know what the repair cost will be. I'm assuming it won't be so low or it won't be so high as purchasing a new laptop, right? Somewhere in between. And speed is low, which means that even after repairing, I'm not expecting it to perform super fast, super highly efficient. Let's say my speed is low, right? And the last one is downtime. Let's say my downtime is medium. I'm going to a shop, to a repair shop. The shop guy is going to take some time to analyze the product, and there's going to be some downtime for actually doing the repair, and then I'll go back to collect it. There's a medium level of downtime, right? So these are my consequences if I go through the repair route. Now let's see the buy route. If I go to the buy route, I'm buying a new machine, so I'll obviously choose a configuration that is suitable for me, so I'm expecting good reliability here. But the cost is also high. I need to spend a lot more money from my pocket to actually buy the machine, right? And speed is high because I'm buying a machine that is quite reliable and also performant. And downtime is really low. I just need to go to the shop, pull out my card, pay it, and then take the machine home, right? So the downtime is very low. So these are the consequences for the buy alternative. Now let's look at the alternative for borrow, right? So for borrow, what's happening is it reliable? Maybe. I don't know if my friend's laptop is as reliable as the machine that I had. Maybe the configuration is higher, maybe the configuration is lower. I really don't know what my configuration or the performance would be. So it's a maybe. And cost is low because I'm expecting my friend wouldn't charge me if I borrow the laptop from now and again, right? And the speed is medium. I'm expecting a medium, good, decent performing machine. And downtime is also low here in this case. I just need to go to my friend's house and then pick up a laptop and continue working, right? In either of these alternatives, my problem statement and objectives are met. I'm getting a reliable machine, and I'm able to do my work, continue my work without interruptions, right? So these are the consequences for alternative. And the next step is the important one. This is the trade-offs, right? So for each alternative, we have the metrics or consequences in front of us, and now we want to evaluate the trade-offs. So what is a trade-off? You are sacrificing something to gain something, right? That's what a trade-off means. Let's see how this can be applied for each of the alternative. So we have repair on one side, and for repair we have these trade-offs. For repair, the benefit we're getting is low cost but may not be as reliable. So when we say low cost here, it's not as high as buying a new laptop, right? So decent cost, but may not be as reliable, right? And in the buy scenario, reliable and fast is the thing that we're gaining. The thing that we're losing is cost, right? We have to spend more bucks from our pocket. It's expensive, right? And the third one is borrow, right? So what are we gaining with borrow? It's cheap and quick, which means downtime is minimized, and it is also low in cost, but may not be always reliable or available, right? So these are the trade-offs for each of the alternatives. So at this point of time, we have completed the PrOACT framework. We have all the details that we need right in front of us, and now we are ready to make a decision, right? At this point of time, if you look at the trade-offs, what are the things that are mainly coming out into our face, right? Cost is one thing that is definitely coming out, and then reliability is something that is coming out, right? So among these two, I need to make a choice between which is most important for me, right? Going back to my objectives, I would like to complete my projects, have a reliable and performant machine, and minimize downtime, and also not overspend. That is something I'm willing to let go of as of now, so that I'm able to complete my projects, have a reliable machine, and minimize downtime. So considering all this, I'm picking a higher priority for reliability and low downtime. And now my decision is to go and buy a new laptop. Okay, so that is how I made a decision. The decision may be different if your priority is different, but at this point of time, I know my trade-offs. I've created a detailed deck. If you can look at it, I've analyzed all of my alternatives. I've analyzed what each alternative has, the consequences of each alternative, and so on. And finally, I've chosen my priority, and then I've made a decision, right? So this is how an architecture decision is made. And we will apply a similar logic to different trade-offs that we're going to see in the next videos as well. And if you go to any stakeholder with this kind of information, naturally they would be more informed and see that there's more reasoning attached to the decision, and it was not something of my opinion or a group of people's opinion that we have to go with the decision. It is a trade-off analysis, it is a decision-making process that is involved, and if you go with this, you'll be better off in the meetings, right? So as a system designer, you better apply some kind of a framework. I'm not saying this is the only framework that is available out there. Use any decision making framework that can give you exploration options, evaluation options, and it can present that you've actually thought about it, you explored everything, and then finally came to a conclusion, right? So this is how the PrOACT framework works. And before we finish this video, these are some tips to do a better PrOACT, right? So the first step is define problem well. I've already discussed this before. The more clearer your problem statement, the easier it is to actually come to a decision, right? Narrow down objectives. Don't put too many objectives. Don't put too few objectives. Evaluate your objectives. Make quality objectives, meaningful objectives for every decision. So for a project, there can be multiple PrOACT decisions that need to be made. So create objectives specific to that problem statement, right? And the third tip is at least 3 to 5 alternatives. Don't have too few alternatives so that it gets really biased. Don't have too many alternatives so you enter into an analysis paralysis state. You don't want to be in that situation. And avoid bias in trade-offs. So the way to avoid bias in trade-offs is to actually do it as a group, at least 2 people, maybe a couple of architects, or maybe stakeholder architect, some kind of a combination. Put 2 minds into analyzing trade-offs, right? And don't overdo the PrOACT framework. Don't try to fit in the PrOACT framework into a problem statement. If it's not working out for you, check it out and use some other framework, right? Don't try to overdo the framework just because it is there. And document the analysis and decision. This is one of the important things about system design. Architect comes, system is designed, and architect leaves. What happened when the architect leaves is that the decision analysis, everything is gone with that person, right? So you don't want to be in that situation. Always document the decisions. Use some kind of a version control system, maybe Confluence, maybe GitHub, maybe GitLab, anything where you can document the analysis, put some versioning on it, put some approval workflow or whatever, but always document the decisions that are taken when it comes to system design, right? So these are some of the tips. This is the framework. This is how it works. I hope you found it helpful. We'll try to use it in our future videos. We'll do some further trade-off analysis. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please leave a like if you found this helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.